old man who wanted to transfer his pictures from his computer. And the first thing she noticed was that his background picture was a horse. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Lots of people have their favorite animal as their background. But then she goes into his pictures and there's literally hundreds of videos and pictures of horse porn. Horses on top of people. Horses on top of other horses. She even swears he was in one of the pictures. The old man just laughs and says, "You must see a lot of weird stuff with this job." Had a guy bring in his iPad because it wasn't receiving data. Had a look. Fiddled with some settings. Eventually a power cycle resolved the issue. To test if it was working, I opened Safari. As I did so, a coworker asked me a question, so I looked away from the iPad. Next thing, we're all being treated to the porn this guy had been watching at max volume, which was able to load again now the data was working. Dude didn't even bat an eyelid. Just said, "Oh, it's working." Sweet. Thanked us and left. I went and washed my hands after that. My coworker was helping a customer transfer his pictures onto a computer. He was sitting there with his business partner blubbering about how his wife left him and she is such a rich etc. Well, when you are transferring the pictures, you can see thumbnails of them. Cue the pictures of the business partner sucking his big dig pop style. I have another story with me helping this time. I was helping a mother and daughter with an issue where her computer wasn't picking up the pictures from her phone. It was an issue fixed easily and the mom and daughter were giggling about all the pictures popping up on the computer screen. Until we got to the daughter's nudes. Mom starts screaming at the daughter. I closed the laptop and looked at the mom and told her she is going to have to wait until she gets out of the store for the lecture. They left in silence after that. Edit, a word. Had a girl come in with her mom. She was probably 14 or 15. This was back when you could set a banner to appear on your phone's home screen. I flip it open to start troubleshooting and the banner says, "Put it in my Updoot." I really wondered if her mom knew it said that. A customer came in with his girlfriend demanding we replace his phone since we apparently sold him a used one. After telling them every phone we sell has to be brand new and sealed. His girlfriend told us that's impossible since the one we sold him had Tinder pre-installed. Dude downloaded Tinder. Got caught. And played it off as blaming the company that sold him the phone. Well, that's just impossible. I don't even use Tinder. They must have sold me a pre-owned phone. I had a customer and his girlfriend come in and the picture on his lock screen was a picture of the girl he was with. Fully nude in a spread eagle position. The home screen picture was her tits. They had no shame about it. It was weird. Lots of nudes. Usually intentionally left for us to see. A phone caked in what I would only hope was dog shit, and not human. A phone caked in enough makeup to have the keyboard stop working. BlackBerry. When those were a thing. Work Geek Squad at Best Buy and an older guy walked in with his Samsung S6 saying it was running slow and kept shutting down. He gave us his passcode and we told him we'd take it in the back to diagnose it. He had no qualms and decided to walk around the store. We plugged in the phone and unlocked it. The immediate background was a close-up picture of a woman's genitals. Thing is, it wasn't a grown woman. It was a picture of a little girl's genitals. We knew because you could see the diaper pulled down around her legs. We immediately locked the phone and called the GM. He called the police and they arrested the guy there at the service desk. He had over 10,000 pictures on his phone. Wise was running slow, and they were all of underage kids. Apparently most of them were his various grandchildren. But others were from online. Most disturbing experience I have had with a customer. Customer came in with a 16 GB iPhone that was running slow. Grindr took up 13 GB. The wry smile said it all. I had a drug dealer return a phone without deleting any of their texts. They sold pills. Some sort of slang for hydrocodone. Worst part was, they were also texting their baby mama about being sad that the states took their kids from them. A technician forwarded me pics of a nude girl from a customer's phone. About 8 yo. In suggestive poses but covering the naughty bits with pillows. Stuffed animals etc. He needed to know what our legal obligation is. Report to police. What to tell customer, etc. It's surprising how many dudes keep photos of naked women as their home screen. It's also a little awkward to be working with a couple. Check the guy's phone to make sure his picture's transferred. And you see a whole album of his wife butt as naked. And then you have to sit there across from her for the rest of the transaction. I had one old dude, like in his 50s, have his home screen as him go nads deep in his wife from behind. I do not understand the reasoning behind that being your home screen. Used to work for a phone store. The weirdest thing I ever saw in a phone was a piece of wheel from a semi-truck. The guy was inflating high pressure tires and one exploded. He put his phone in the left breast pocket and it may have saved his life. It made for a great insurance claim story. Apparently this guy that came in fairly often, he just didn't know what he was doing with technology, so we were his go-to guys. Had a picture of a black mannequin with a noose around its neck in his living room. I avoid him like hell when he comes in now. A customer came in one day complaining about a virus. We said okay, we'll take a look. Turns out, the instant you press the power button to turn it on, the phone is completely locked up and you cannot avoid looking at a slidder shower of very graphic CP. We gave him a temporary replacement phone and contacted Verizon letting them know to send this guy a new phone, and also contacted the FBI to let them know of this virus. We got a letter from the FBI about 3 months later thanking us, as that phone had been helpful in tracking down the source of the virus and CP. The guy never came back in to get his replacement phone. Not the weirdest but the most memorable was when I was troubleshooting someone's emails that weren't sending out when she received an iMessage from her husband that said, "Are you sure you don't want one last mustache ride before I shave this bad boy off?" It was Deg. First, so right after Movember, and she went super red in the face and grabbed the phone out of my hands and left. This man in a wheelchair came in because he couldn't send any picture messages. When checking what was taking up his memory, it was filled with pics of stock photos that he thought were from legitimate dating app users. I once found a phone on a park bench. Being nosy, I went through the photo videos and came across a video of the owner filming a lady in her sleep. It was extremely creepy. Around 10 minutes long. You could only hear him heavily breathing and muttering under his breath. So not weirdest but coolest. Guy was in Iraq and was shot. The bullet hit the phone first and slowed the impact. Guess the docs told him he would have died had the phone not been there. When he got back to the States, he brought it to us for a replacement under his accidental damage warranty. We swapped it out. But if it had been, I would have kept the phone that saved my life instead. Obligatory, not a phone store employee, but used to fix computers of people I knew and of people that they knew. But for some reason they'd turn up with anything electric like phones, dartboard machines, etc. because, well, duck knows lol. One day the young woman of a couple I sort of knew, lived next to her mates, asked me to fix their phone so said I'd have a look. They turned up with phone and no charger. Pointing out the obvious, they left mobile with me and said they'd look for the charger. As it happened, I managed to find one stashed away. So got to checking the phone out. Found no problems, so probably just their charger, but whilst looking through the phone, found a clip of the pair of them sparking up heroin in a spoon. Seriously folks, if you're going to record dumb shit like that, better off buying a new mobile than letting some randomer find your evidence. I worked at a tech department during the summer break from uni. I found weirdo and big dick pics from Grindr on one dude's phone. Another guy came in, 40ish years old, white, with his 70-year-old dad. Told me he bought a phone off the street from a guy and had his Obama phone. Turns out the phone he bought didn't work on the service he had. He needed to get another phone. You can't just buy a phone off a street and expect it to work. So I'm activating his phone he just bought and he goes to check out the Bluetooth speakers. And he says, out loud, in a big city, I should buy that to scare away all the US dollars downtown. Well, on his Obama phone, which he tossed to me, was a picture of white powder. IDK what exactly it is, but it's definitely Drew Gus of some form. His dad basically ignored him and talked about baseball with me. That is just one you remember forever. His 70-year-old dad bought his $40 phone for him. Worked for Sprint and this black lady called the store. Sorry, but you could just tell she was black and was just yelling, "Oh lordy. They got my phone. They got me, oh lord. You gotta help me." Then her son took the phone and said that his mother's phone had a virus on it and it was doing unspeakable things. I told him to bring it in because I can't do anything over the phone. He comes in and just tells me yeah. She let her grandson use the phone and then I took it and it was just page after page after page of ebony porn movies. No viruses, but she couldn't figure out how to just exit the pages. I got rid of it. Cleared history and cookies and set up parental blocks. This guy brings in his BlackBerry torch and asks for help getting it working again. My coworker picks it up, opens the back and takes the battery out. All of a sudden he was overpowered by the smell of moldy rotten bread. He asks the guy and the guy just laughs, haha, well I did puke on it after the bar last night. Everyone in the store heard. My coworker was pissed. And my customers immediately commented about how gross that was. That guy was a douche for not saying something. And no shit, your phone doesn't work, it went swimming in vomit. One old guy. Very weird looking. Wearing sunglasses indoors and in a suit's phone was freezing. He had notifications on his wallpaper of extreme null porn, download complete. Teenage porn. Barely legal. Young and old, you get the picture. Felt almost violated when I realized he probably jacked off with this phone in his hand. And it was disgusting. Like full of dust and stains on the screen. Really filthy. I handed it off, told him keep it off for a few hours and turn it back on just so he wouldn't be able to come back if it was still bugged. Another woman. Shaved head. Tiny. Les. A bit tapped, said her phone was freezing. Shorty Huawei Y330. I unlocked it and bam. A group of 7 or 8 naked girls as her wallpaper. Had to try hard to keep a straight face there. I genuinely don't think she noticed my reaction because she wasn't all there. I also had a really hot MILF from Poland come in and her history was full of extreme porn and squirting and facials. She got instantly more attractive when I saw that history. I don't work for the phone store, but they are one of our customers as we provide them janitorial services. Every day for a week. We kept getting dispatched emergency work orders because a disgruntled customer didn't want to pay her phone bill. So she would pee in the middle of the same store on their carpet. In front of other customers. And run out. Every day. For 5 days straight at different times till the cops finally arrested her. I'm going to throw an extra story in because I have so many. Husband and wife both get new phones. We set up both devices and transfer pictures from the old phones to the new ones. The husband asks us to verify that all his photos were transferred correctly. I open up his gallery and am greeted with all photos of his wife, total 10/10. Standing right next to him, fully nude and in every position imaginable. Wife immediately loses her shit on the husband while him and I exchange a non-verbal nice look. Weird day. I wasn't at a phone store. But I used to work for Walmart in electronics. We also sold phones. On a contract or prepaid. This one guy comes in furious that we did something to his phone. And it now had a FBI lock on it. We ended up being able to take it off. As he got that lock due to watching porn on some sketchy site. I'm not a phone store employee. But I do enjoy looking up weird crap often to screenshot and use to mess with friends. I always delete them and typically the picture from the text. Too. Because I don't want to look at it. But I'm always terrified if one day I have to take it in for repairs that all of that stuff will pop up and whoever is working on my phone will think I am some weird fetishist with multiple creepy or commonly considered weird fetishes that I look at all day. Nudes. Lot of nudes. But generally from people who you'd think wouldn't have them on their phones. That is. Older customers over 50 plus coming in with their younger, more tech-savvy relatives. Why don't they have those guys go through their phones first? Source: Works for US Cellular in Maine. I have one customer who was having problems with the data not working on his phone. Upon opening his browser, his top search term for Google was Fat Bob. On another occasion, the same customer had me copy pictures from one phone to another. Tons of obese, like 500-600 pounds, naked women. I now refer to that customer as Fat Bob.